Hello, everyone! It's me, and welcome to my channel. Okay, so today we're talking about A Quiet Place, one of my favorite films of recent years. And it's actually been a while since I first saw this in theaters with my wife and kids. They really enjoyed it too. You know, it was one of those movies that once it started, they didn't make a sound for the whole entire thing. Even during the scary parts, we were sitting behind this firmly. And every time there was like a jump scare or something, the mom would grab her son and then he would like bury his face into her shoulder. Just because he was so scared. But anyway, today I want to talk about a few things regarding the movie, including why it is the best found footage movie of all time. Some interesting facts about its production. And of course, I want to share with you guys my review without giving any spoilers. So if you have not seen the movie yet, you can still watch this video. You'll enjoy it. If you have seen it, well, this will be a fun revisit for you. Let's go. First off, I feel like I need to establish what kind of movie this is. As I said before, it is not a found footage movie. However, it does utilize many of the techniques and ideas associated with the found footage genre. For example, the story unfolds through various cameras and camcorders. The camera work is handheld for the most part, and there is also a sense of realism, which comes from the fact that the characters are reacting in real time to their... Now, if you've seen any found footage movies, you probably know how tricky it is to pull off. Like sometimes it can feel claustrophobic, you know, depending on the shots that you use and how you frame them. There is a technique that needs to be used in order to make it look realistic. And this film does it better than any other film I've ever seen. In fact, I think it has the best camera work and cinematography out of any movie in recent memory. Like, seriously, the camera angles and framing here are immaculate. My favorite scene takes place inside a church, and the way they managed to capture it on camera, it's unbelievable. In fact, there is a documentary called A Quiet Place, the movie that should not be missed, where they go behind the scenes and talk about how they pulled off these incredible shots. And it's mind-blowing. For example, there is this one shot where Evelyn is looking down at the baby and the camera is elevated at an angle. And it looks like someone is literally holding the camera above them. But it wasn't like that at all. Instead, they created this entire rig that allowed them to get the right perspective, and it looks so natural. Also, there are no edits or cuts in that particular scene. They just roll the camera and let it keep on rolling. By the way, if you haven't watched that documentary yet, it is fantastic. It talks about a lot of cool stuff, including the fact that Emily Blunt had to learn sign language for her role. Another thing that's worth mentioning is the sound design. Obviously, this is a movie about silence, but the sounds that are present in the film are very effective. From the creaking of floorboards to the rustle of leaves, everything is designed to build suspense, and it works really well. The sound design is so good that you can feel the tension rising even when nothing is happening on screen. Blue! The movie has this really cool trick where it fades out certain sounds in post-production in order to highlight the silence. I read somewhere that they did that with the dialogue too, but I couldn't find anything online to back that up. So take this with a grain of salt. Now, I want to talk about the plot. This is not your typical horror movie. Like, it doesn't rely on jump scares or gore to scare you. Instead, it builds tension slowly and steadily. until you feel like you right there in the movie, experiencing it firsthand. So you might not see a lot of action, but what you do see is incredibly suspenseful. I remember watching this movie with my son, and he kept asking me, "What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen?" And I didn't know. Like, I genuinely had no idea. Every time I thought I figured something out, the movie threw me for a loop. I honestly believe this is the perfect movie to watch if you want to be scared without being like, overly alarmed. If that makes sense. I mean, I can watch this movie again and again, and each time I do, I find myself on the edge of my seat. Next up, I want to talk about the characters. They're not particularly complex, but they're likable enough. And they're certainly relatable. I mean, who hasn't lost someone they love to a mysterious creature? Just kidding. But seriously, the characters are flawed, and they make mistakes, but they also have good intentions. And they try to do what's right for each other. Even though I haven't experienced the loss of a child, I could still empathize with Evelyn and understand why she would do whatever it takes to protect her kids. And John Krasinski, who also directed the film. He does an excellent job portraying a father who's willing to sacrifice everything for his children. Emily Blunt is also amazing as Evelyn. She conveys so much emotion with just a look, because obviously they can't rely on dialogue to move the story forward. The chemistry between them is believable, and their performances are so raw and authentic that you can't help but root for them. And then there's the supporting cast. I don't want to spoil anything, but I will say that Noah Jupe and Millie Simmons are fantastic in their roles. Watching them grow and change throughout the movie is really rewarding, and their interactions with the other characters are so touching. Okay, now let's talk about the ending. When I first saw this in theaters, I was blown away. Like it was one of those endings that just sticks with you long after the credits have rolled. And I think it's because it's open-ended. Like, we don't know what happens to the characters after the events of the film, but we can imagine that they will continue to adapt and survive. The ending of this movie is both hopeful and heartbreaking, and it leaves you're thinking about the characters long after the movie is over. Now, let me tell you why. I consider this to be the best found footage movie ever made. First off, as I mentioned earlier, the camera work and cinematography are immaculate. It is so good that you forget you're rewatching a movie, and it feels like you're rewatching a real-life documentary. Secondly, the movie is incredibly suspenseful. Even though there isn't a lot of action, the tension builds slowly and steadily until you feel like you're right there in the movie. And thirdly, the ending is just so damn good. It is both hopeful and heartbreaking, and it leaves you thinking about the characters long after the movie is over. Now, I know some people might not agree with me on this, but I'm telling you, if you watch this movie, you will see what I mean. And lastly, I just want to say that this is a movie that should not be missed. Like, seriously, it's one of those movies that you need to experience for yourself in order to understand how great it is. Don't listen to anyone who tells you otherwise. This is a must-watch. So if you haven't seen it yet, make sure you do. I promise you won't regret it. Well, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. And as always, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.